Good morning, and welcome to AE Home Care's third video cast in a series titled One Voice. My name is Jeff Bowman. I am the Vice President of the HME Distribution segment at McKesson Medical Surgical. I also sit on the AE Home Care Board and its Executive Committee. And in my 30 years of being in this industry, I've never been more excited about the potential for the future. But to help secure that future, strong advocacy at the federal, state, and local level will be required. Key part of our industry is the vendor community. Manufacturers, distributors, software companies, and more make up this important part of the industry and have a key role to play in the supply chain, but also in advocacy. So today I have two terrific guests who will share their perspective of why advocacy is so important to their companies, how their companies are involved, and what they would like to see more from this industry overall, so we can strengthen the story of the value we provide to payers, health systems, and more. So with that, I'll do some quick intros and then we'll get started. So Shelley Bach, the U.S. sales leader for First Quality, the makers of Prevail Incontinence products. She has been with First Quality in sales and marketing for over 16 years. And over that time, she has helped to develop First Quality's marketing strategy and home care business, resulting in Prevail Products Incontinence Coach becoming one of the leading incontinence brands and programs in home care. In addition to leading First Quality's sales team, Shelley spends her free time being a mom of 3 busy kids in the Philadelphia area. So Shelley, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Great. And Bill Shoup. So Bill has been with ResMed for 17 years. He started as a local territory manager in Western Pennsylvania and West Virginia. And then he was promoted up through the ranks, moving to different roles in national accounts and regional management. And now he's been the VP of sales for North America for the last 4 years. Bill's an avid golfer. Can't wait to hear what that handicap is, Bill. And lives in Oakmont, Pennsylvania with his wife and 2 kids. And Bill, thank you for being here.
Jeff and Shelley, thank you very much for having me. Looking forward to the conversation.
Great, thank you. So Shelley, let's start with you. So First Quality, as far back as I can remember, has been a big supporter of advocacy in many markets, including HME. And in 2019, First Quality agreed to be one of 6 companies that funded a rebranding campaign for AE Home Care. And it was clear AE Home Care needed to raise awareness of what it was doing, especially at the state level, especially around key topics like managed care, and create a positive vibe that united this industry. So first, I would just want to say I really appreciate First Quality stepping up like that and making that financial commitment. And then second, why did First Quality, Shelley, why do they do that? And what is the value of AE Home Care to First Quality?
Absolutely. And thank you, Jeff. I remember those initial conversations when we started talking about the rebranding campaign for AE Home Care. And I will tell you right away, we knew that it was something that we needed to get behind. First Quality is a family-owned company. We've been in healthcare now for 30 years. We have some pretty long-standing partnerships with providers that are servicing Medicaid. So what we've seen over really the last few years are some big changes in Medicaid, and they have had some real consequences for our providers and ultimately the beneficiaries. And one of the biggest challenges we see with state Medicaid programs, of course, is that it's fragmented. So the efforts were fragmented. The states and the regional associations have been doing an excellent job, but we really needed a national perspective, tracking the development, sharing the successes, the learnings, and really having something that we can pull throughout the whole country. And we really feel like AE Home Care is doing just that. They're leading those efforts. They're helping make our voice bigger. And ultimately, the goal is maintaining our provider network throughout the country and really helping these providers show their value to payers and also the value that they're bringing to the Medicaid beneficiaries. So for us, it was really an easy decision. They're doing great work, and we're happy to be supported.
And as I say, we're just kind of getting started. I feel like this rebranding, this momentum is just building. I see this, industry uniting so much more than I ever had before, and really appreciate you guys jumping in there with us at the beginning to help get that going. So thank you, Shelley. ResMed, same thing. ResMed's been a long-time supporter of AE Home Care and understands the importance of strong advocacy. So what's been ResMed's experience with AE Home Care, and how does ResMed think about its investment of time and money into AE Home Care and the return? I hear this whole ROI thing all the time from providers and vendors thinking about making that investment. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, so absolutely. ResMed has found a lot of value in being a partner with AE Home Care, and the relationship's been very positive. I think on both sides of the equation, having that that shared voice in advocacy, as Shelley talked about, the state and local governments and independent DMEs do a really good job in their communities. But it's having that single voice, that shared voice or aligned voice that really and truly is what creates value. It's being able to show and share how HMEs are able to deliver, better patient care at a cost-effective manner, where patients really want to be treated in the home as well. And I think that aligned vision and voice is what AA Home Care has done a great job.
Yeah,
and that's where ResMed really finds the value. And I think it's developed quite a bit over the years as well.
Yeah, I mean, every study I've ever seen says patients want to be at home, right? I mean, that's really where the patient and the caregivers want to have have mom, have dad, and so it's great that I appreciate you speaking to ResMed's vision and mission and how it aligns with the mission of AA Home Care and how really we really need one voice, and that's obviously the title of this whole series. So thank you for that, Bill. Appreciate that. So Shelley, let's hop back over to you. So First Quality's incontinence products are reimbursed heavily by Medicaid. And we know managed care has advanced across the country in many states and had a direct impact on providers and the entire supply chain, including manufacturers and distributors, as they choose sole source or sometimes limited networks, right? Or just cut rates dramatically. We've seen that. So why do you think sole sourcing and limited networks is not a good option? And what would you like to see more from AA Home Care, this industry in general, in this specific area?
Yes, I mean, incontinence products are reimbursed primarily by Medicaid, and the last few years have really been driven by that move to manage Medicaid programs. The biggest concern for us is that rate reduction to the point that it cuts networks. If it's not a sole source, it almost feels like a sole source, or it's extremely limited, and that, of course, gives limitations to the beneficiaries. Some of these very low rates as well, they're almost to the point of not financially being feasible. So you're driving all of the quality and care out of the program. So if you talk about how important it is to have good care in the home, you have to have the good quality products, the good care, because incontinence in general, if you deal with incontinence patients, you know that it can impact so many different areas of their life, from social isolation to infections to wounds, all kinds of problems. So if you're not having good quality care and you're driving all of the quality out of the program, then you're really going to have some pretty negative outcomes. So we really feel like AA Home Care, and I know the providers have been having lots of I think they've started having some success, that some rate protections here. So we don't drive all of the quality and care out of the home care setting. So I think that's probably our biggest challenge, keeping those networks and keeping it healthy so that we can really keep that quality and that care for those Medicaid beneficiaries.
Yeah, and thank you, Shelley. And in the last video cast, I had Laura Williard, Beth Bowen, and Brad Heath on, and they were talking about some of those wins. You were talking about the managed care wins, and had them on talking specifically about those. So if you're in the audience and you didn't see the last video cast, check it out. You can talk about some of those very specific wins, but you're right. I mean, one of the big missions of AA Home Care is to make sure that patients have access. Exactly. And that's super important, I know, to all of us. So thank you, Shelley. So Bill, there are approximately 100 non-provider companies that are members of AA Home Care. So manufacturers, distributors make up basically about a third of the membership. So that means there are still several companies out there that are not members. So what would be your message to those companies that have not joined, and why should they want to be a part of this?
Yeah, I always want to be careful, Jeff, in telling other people how to spend their money. One is I don't want people telling me how to spend my money. But I'll talk a little bit more about what ResMed finds valuable. And it goes back to, that aligned view and that aligned mission: better patient access, better patient care at a lower cost, where patients want to be treated. And, I've been in this industry for 17 years, not as long as you have, but I've seen absolutely the industry start to come together. When I first started, DMEs would jump all over each other to sign a contract, and if I could sign it for 10% less, I will. And what I've seen is people really understanding the value of what DME does, what HME does, and having that aligned voice. And I think during this pandemic, we've absolutely seen the value of what home care delivers to patients, and you saw people come together to solve real problems. I think what we just witnessed with competitive bid 21 is absolutely a result of having that aligned vision and aligned voice and legislative mission to explain what this industry does to help healthcare, and more importantly, to help patients. That's what's delivering the results. And that's why, as an HME or as a manufacturer, it's a good investment.
Well said, Bill. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Shelley, kind of the same question, but we're going to focus on providers. So there's about 250 provider companies that are members of AE Home Care. So about 2/3 of the membership group. That means there's thousands of providers out there, we know, that are not members. So what would be your message to them, and why should they be a part of this?
Yeah, it's very similar to Bill, what Bill was saying is, I feel strongly that you have to take control and not just let things happen to you, but versus trying to get out there and help shape that. So, I feel like it's important that we do have that aligned voice, that we are, getting the message out there, and we need to be aligned and provide. We want to protect networks, and we just want to make sure that this continues to be a healthy industry. So being proactive, working together, I think we have a common goal to keep networks healthy, to keep quality in the system so that we can continue to have effective home care. Those are all of the things that I think we all have that same mission, and we can really work together on. So I do feel strongly, once you see a little success, you can build on that success. So once you get the momentum going, you want to continue to build. And I think we're starting to do that. So as more providers get involved, then I think we'll continue to just grow that success further and further.
Yeah, I completely agree. And, I was thinking about First Quality, McKesson. We've all seen other industries also, that have gone through challenging times. But when they've come together, like I think of the long-term care industry back in '98 when PPS was implemented, and 60% of all beds were in bankruptcy at the time. And then eventually in the 2000s, they all came together. And now, I would say that while they still have their challenges, that's a more united front. And so I think that's helped them stabilize a lot of things in the nursing home industry. So we've directly seen some of that. So we know it can work, right? We absolutely know it can work.
Absolutely. And we just have to work together.
Absolutely. Got to work together. I've seen ResMed, I know ResMed's been heavily involved in the country's response to the pandemic. Ventilators and more have been in high demand. I've seen your CEO, Mick's been on, I've seen him on TV a few times, talking about it and all the ventilation, production that's been ramped up. So what have you seen in terms of what AE Home Care has done to help ensure HME has been part of the conversation with regulators and others regarding the pandemic, and how barriers have been removed so that, this HME industry could basically be that, as some people have called it, the relief valve, for hospitals, and get patients out, but also keep them out from going back?
Yeah, first, Jeff, let me just say how proud I am to be a ResMedian. What we saw, what we were able to do, at the guidance of Mick Farrell, in terms of increasing production of ventilators to 3.5 times what it was, increasing production of respiratory care masks to 10x. You saw people across the globe come together and deliver results that really did save patients' lives. So it's really prideful to be a part of an organization like that, as well as, we never moved away from our employee safety first mentality as well. So being able to make those pivots, but also making sure that you're putting your employees first is incredibly inspiring. But along those same lines, I think what I saw with this industry and AA Home Care leading the way is that the entire industry came together during the pandemic to recognize, hey, there's a problem here that nobody's ever seen. I mean, and that's what this pandemic was. It was uncharted waters for all of us. And so being able to come together and put egos and profitability and everything else aside, and just figure out, okay, how do we help patients? That was really inspiring. And what we've seen at ResMed is DMEs challenge themselves to come up with different ways to solve the problem. Hey, I've got to get something to a patient. How do I get something to a patient in a safe and effective manner, while not putting any of my employees at risk as well? And you saw all kinds of different models start to emerge. And what I think as part of that was sharing all of those different models as well. And then you had AA Home Care and the HME industry advocating for, okay, we've done our part. Now, how are you going to help us from a legislative standpoint? And you saw EUAs being issued and simplified kind of logical regulations that were also issued as well, that allowed for remote monitoring, telemedicine, digital health. I think that stuff has been accelerated 2 to 3 years. And let's hope that those simplified regulations stick around as well. I think it would be incredibly shameful if some of those things, if we tried to go back to the old way of doing things. And I think that logically it makes sense that we won't go back there.
And I think we've seen in our history, we have a tendency to kind of fall back to our old ways, right? You know, once the event's over, and certainly it's been an event unlike any other. But that's one of my concerns. That's why I think one of the reasons advocacy is so important. We got to stay in front of this. You know, we don't want to be reactive. We want to try to be proactive, continue to work on rates, work on, you know, things in policy that's going to help us with telemedicine and remote monitoring, all these things that have really become a positive, you know, from the pandemic. And so we can't let that go. And the only way we're going to continue to push on that and push that forward is if we have a strong advocacy arm in someone like AA Home Care. So I couldn't agree with you more, Bill. I appreciate that. So let's do some closing comments. So about, 30 seconds or so. And Shelley, we'll just start with you.
All right. Well, first, I want to thank you. I want to thank AA Home Care and all the staff and members. It really is a privilege for First Quality to be among this group. I think we're doing some good work and really appreciate all of the efforts. At First Quality, we feel like we need to be good citizens. So, we want to do our part to keep the industry healthy, to make sure that providers, that there's a strong network, and ultimately at the end of the day, it's those Medicaid beneficiaries, that they're getting good care, good quality products in their home, and and that we're having good overall outcomes. So we really appreciate the work that you guys are doing, and I just want to encourage others, to get involved as well. Again, I feel strongly that you've got to shape the future sometimes, and this is a good way to do it. So thank you all for taking that lead and letting us be a part of it as well.
Oh, thank you, Shelley. Appreciate it. And Bill?
I just echo Shelley's words that, I appreciate the opportunity to participate in this one voice. As I said, ResMed sees a lot of value in advocacy, and we're doing a lot of good work together with AA Home Care, and so we really appreciate it. It's funny, Shelley, you used the word shaping the future. It was actually the theme of our national sales meeting this year, was shaping the future, because I think we all have a responsibility to do that, and AA Home Care is certainly helping lead the way there.
Completely agree. Well, thank you, Bill. I appreciate that. So first thing I want to do in closing is I want to thank our guests, Shelley and Bill. I really appreciate the insights and getting to the heart of some of these key questions that are on the minds of people as they're thinking about whether I should join or I shouldn't join. And I also want to say thank you for your leadership and your contributions, your company's contributions to the industry over many, many years. And I know you and your companies have given a lot to this industry in many ways, and I just want to say thank you for that. And to the providers and vendors out there that are not AA Home Care members, I think the message is clear. We need everyone to participate. We need everybody to be a part of I love the shaping. I love that. Shaping this industry. Let's shape this together. That's the only way we'll do this. And so really, it's really kind of a simple formula. And I say this on every video cast. It's more members equals more budget dollars, which equals more investment of resources back into the industry for advocacy, which will equal more results. It's really a simple formula. So we just need more members, more budget dollars, and we're going to get you more results. But we got to do this together. So if you have not joined AA Home Care, please do so and do it today. And if you have questions or need the membership application, you can reach out to me, jeff.bowman@mckesson.com, or you can go on the AA Home Care website where you'll find Tom Ryan and Laura Williard and everyone from the AA Home Care team on there. They can answer your questions as well. And looking forward, we will have our next video cast coming up where we'll continue to focus on one voice. We'll have a little different angle. And yes, we're going to have some folks from the West Coast. I think I've hit North Carolina and Pennsylvania, and now we're going to go West. So we'll have some folks from the West Coast. And so to close, and Bill and Shelley both hit on it, the pandemic is definitely causing the spotlight to be shined on the home care market. And what we do matters. I heard a patient talk a couple weeks ago, what we do matters. And she just was very eloquent in how she explained the importance of this industry and advocacy and how we all need to work together. And I love that. So we know it. And now with the spotlight shined on the home care markets like HME, we have the opportunity to shine bright and tell our story. So thank you to everyone in HME for all you're doing to take care of the millions of the patients that rely on this industry, especially those on the front lines. And the commitment from AA Home Care, companies like ResMed and First Quality, McKesson, and more is to make sure those tremendous stories are told and this industry is put in the best position possible for years to come. So great things are ahead for the HME industry. I believe it. I hope you believe it. And that starts with having one voice. So all the best to you. Have a great Tuesday. Bye-bye.